This is the iPad Air 4 and here's a review of it. In this video we'll cover everything you need to know about the iPad, from the display to the design, its note-taking capabilities, gaming, drawing, and each further point is divided into sub-points, making it easier to understand if this iPad is for you or not. And I can guarantee this is one review you shouldn't miss. But before we start going into details, here's a slight introduction to the iPad Air 4. The iPad Air 4 was launched in the later half of 2020, and during its launch it was regarded as the iPad Pro killer because it had all the specs everyone needed except the 120Hz display, and it was available at a more affordable price with better performance. But with the inclusion of the M1 iPad Pro, which is miles ahead of the iPad Air when it comes to raw performance, and the iPad Mini, there are many more options available. So why should you still go for the iPad Air? Well, this video explains why it's the best iPad you can get right now. Now let's talk about the design of the iPad Air 4. The iPad Air 4 still has the latest and greatest design language that Apple is still following today. It has rounded corners with flat edges, giving it a modern and sleek look. It also helps with the durability and overall design symmetry. The trend started by the iPad Pro 2018 has now been mimicked on the iPhones and even on the MacBooks. It features the exact same design as the 2018 iPad Pro, but it is available in more colors, which is always a good addition. Speaking about colors, the color options that you can get with this iPad are Space Grey, Silver, Green, Rose Gold and Sky Blue. I decided to go with green as it stands out the most in my opinion, and it also has a very neutral but appealing look. It weighs 460 grams, which is slightly heavier than the previous generations of the iPad Air, but that is largely due to the revised design language, and it also has a bigger battery capacity, which is always a plus point. Holding this device for note-taking has never been easier, but I personally find the lighter, older gen iPads better when it comes to holding it for media consumption or gaming. Now let's talk about the display. It has a beautiful 10.9-inch LCD display with a resolution of 1640 x 2360 pixels, which is very close to Quad HD. HDR content is supported and the visuals are really good. It is also helped by the wide color gamut and the True Tone display. The pixel density is 264 pixels per inch, which is okay in my opinion. Coming to the bezels. The bezels are fairly large, but that is a conscious decision made by Apple to help one-handed usage for note-taking, so that it does not affect your notes. And it isn't that jarring. It looks very well balanced, especially with the rounded corners. Unfortunately, it does not have Face ID. I have installed a matte screen protector which does reduce the number of details on the screen, but it makes the experience of note-taking way better and paper-like. Coming to the port offerings and the speakers, it comes with a USB Type-C port. Now, it's not called a Thunderbolt port as the word Thunderbolt is trademarked by Intel, but I did plug it in with the Thunderbolt compatible Dell docking station, and everything from the monitor to the speaker and the mouse work perfectly. The audio you're hearing right now is recorded by me on my Rode mic through GarageBand on iPad, so you don't have to worry about the Type-C port. Unfortunately, due to its new design language, Apple has dropped the 3.5mm headphone jack. In my opinion, this is a huge trade-off. For a person like me who prefers having wired earphones or headphones, I often find myself looking for a Type-C to 3.5mm dongle. And the only one which works perfectly is the Apple's official dongle, which is priced at 900 rupees. It supports lossless audio due to its inbuilt DAC, so if you are purchasing that device, I think you should go for it. Coming to the speaker and microphone situation, it features stereo speakers which are audibly loud, but they are not the best. They lack on bass, but mids and highs are good. It does have 4 grills for the speakers, which is paired with the microphone, and I personally think the positioning of the grill makes it louder. Now let's talk about performance. The iPad Air 4 has the Apple A14 Bionic chip, which is an extremely powerful and optimized chip, and it almost has a very small difference from the A15 on the iPad Mini. So if performance is the reason why you're thinking of the iPad Mini, I think you should reconsider, as you won't be able to tell the difference between the A14 and the A15. It has no issues with rendering on Premiere Rush or exporting, and even gaming on it is fine. I was able to crank the graphics to max without facing much heating issues or huge battery drain. The iPad Air 4 also has 4GB of RAM, which may seem less to an Android user, but on iOS it's really good due to Apple's strict optimization and low requirements for iPadOS. For the extremely power-hungry user, I would rather recommend the Pro, which does have more options when it comes to RAM, and it also has the M1 chip, which is extremely powerful when it comes to raw performance. Now, the next part of the video is going to be a bit different from the rest of the video. I can just blurt out all the specifications and just leave it, but I think from a user's perspective, I should tell you guys more because this is a very expensive iPad, and I think when you're spending so much money on a device, you should know some practical usage also. So I'm first going to talk about just the accessory, that is the main accessory, that is the Apple Pencil. I think most of the people buy it for the Apple Pencil. Now the Apple Pencil is really good, although it is priced at 10,000 rupees. At first I think the Apple Pencil is I thought the Apple Pencil was so overpriced, but once you use it you just realize why it's priced. Like, it's so well connected with the iPad. I just think it's really good. I have never felt like, oh shit, I didn't charge my Apple Pencil. I've never felt that. It's always had charge. I've never had any problems with it. When I originally got it, it wasn't pairing after I turned off Bluetooth. It should actually technically pair after I turned off, turn it off and turn it on again, but it did not do that. I called Apple support. They just said you're running an older firmware of iPad OS, so I just updated it and it was completely fine. But this thing, the pressure sensitivity, I've drawn on it. I've actual proper drawing I've started, and I've written notes and I've used it a lot, and I think it's actually worth the money. If you can get a discount, good, but I wouldn't recommend any third-party ones because of how well it is integrated and synced with Apple's whole ecosystem, or with the iPad ecosystem. Then other Bluetooth stuff, keyboard and mouse also work fine, but I don't think so you should go for the 27,000 keyboard Apple is giving, unless you're getting it inside a package or something with a lesser price, maybe, but I don't know. Now from a daily user's perspective, I use this mainly for note taking and for school use, and for basically note taking for school. I don't take it to my school, but now because it's online, I use it at home. I charge it about in the morning and I'm left with around 40% at night. I use it for around 4 to 8 hours every day, and absolutely no problems. Wi-Fi is stellar here, and I'm comparing this to my old SE, and the Wi-Fi hasn't been that great over here, especially the speed I'm talking about. But this one, the speeds are good, Bluetooth is good, so these are all just specifications. But note taking is really good. Now it won't be there up to the iPad Pro because of the 120Hz screen, and it feels way more smooth. So if you really want the 120Hz screen and you want to, you can afford it, then maybe, I don't know. The price in India fluctuates a lot, so I wouldn't say anything. And now one sentence I would use to describe this iPad is the jack of all trades but master of none, because it has everything you need as a basic user of an iPad, but it is not the best at everything. For example, if I have the iPad Pro is top of the line. It's the best at everything you can get from a tablet, from an iPad. But this one isn't, and even if you compare it to the mini, so I'll be comparing it to the mini and the Pro. I would not be comparing it to a 9th gen, because the 9th gen I would only recommend to people who are really on a budget, or they just need to give one to their to some old person, or just to make some video calls, or they're just doing light browsing or something, or they just want to go into the ecosystem, maybe. But if you're thinking of purchasing for this I would be giving this part of the review as from a note-taking standpoint. Note-taking has been stellar. I haven't faced any problems with note-taking. I would like haptic touch to be implemented on the side of the Apple Pencil, so that when I double tap to the eraser, there's a haptic touch feedback to know that the pencil has detected my double tap, because sometimes I double tap and it doesn't know, sometimes I don't double tap and it shows a double tap, and this is with the way I hold the pen. So I personally face a problem, others don't, but I would just like it implemented. I feel like it's something Apple would do. Another thing is the cases are very expensive, the one Apple provides, so I think you should buy one from third party. Then the battery life, so like I said, I get around 8 to 10 hours probably if I see the whole battery life. But battery isn't disappointing for note taking, but if you want a game, I don't think so this is the one to go for. Then again, the form factor 10.9 inch screen, but if you want the 120Hz screen, or if you want a bigger screen 12.9, go for the more expensive 1 lakh iPad Pro. But I think 60Hz is fine for the average person. So if you want a well-rounded package, does everything for a normal user, this is the one to go for. There is no arguing. It's very good. From performance wise, it isn't as good as the mini, or it isn't as good as the Pro, but you won't be able to tell the difference because of how iPad OS is built in. it is like iPad OS isn't like Windows or anything where you can like make down to down comparisons between everything, just run off Antutu and tell, because it depends a lot. Like, and Apple also optimizes the software a lot, so you may not be able to tell any difference apart from the screen between the Pro and the Air on a daily using standpoint. So I think the Air is the one to go for, because it has the best form factor, decent performance, bigger battery life than a mini, and it's just a well-rounded package. So I think that's it. So that's it for the review, guys. I hope you liked it. I just wanted to do this short stint before ending this video, so that you know. And because the prices of all Apple products are going up because of like decrease in production, I just wanted to say, if you get it for around 50,000, I think you should go for it. But if you get it for about 65,000 and above, especially for the base variant, I don't think so you should go for it. You should wait for the prices to decrease a bit. That's it for this video. Thanks for watching. Catch you guys in the next one.